What's going on, Nyan Nation? Welcome back to the Nyan Arcade for some more Cyberpunk 2077 news and details. We haven't done one of these longer, fully fledged news sections in quite a while, so let's get caught up on all the details in the world of Cyberpunk 2077 and CD Projekt Red. As an aside, I'll have a video specifically on E3 2019 tomorrow before Sunday, June 9th, where we'll see our first conference from Microsoft, so you're definitely going to want to check that one out. Today, however, we're talking about Jason Schreier and his absolutely not 2019 release tweet, a new Cyberpunk jacket, Cyberpunk Red, the Jumpstart kit, and our first look at a new Cyberpunk Red image, Jackie's romances for the game, Steam Awards for CDPR, and more. First up, we have our art section, where we feature community creations. First, we have Fakes Forge in his Geralt and Male V transformation edit. It kinda shows you how eerily similar Geralt and Male V are, and even the pose of the characters layers over one another nicely. Definitely a cool little piece. Next we have a pink Jackie piece from Isuki Main. I love the emotion on his face and obviously the colors based on my own channel theme. The shadows are also amazingly done. Next we have a female V piece from Macaria Arts, which looks fantastic. You guys know in-action shots are always appreciated when it comes to fan art, and this piece is no exception. Finally, we have Juan Severa with this epic Brainiac character design model. I really love this one, and they look like a recolor of the presumable Brainiac booster gangs we see in the E3 2018 trailer. All the artists, like always, will have links in the pinned comment. In today's news segment, we first have some tweets from Jason Schreier, who is a well-known and respected games journalist. A week ago on May 29th, in response to a tweet by a fan about a rumor of a November 2019 release for Cyberpunk 2077, he responded with, "There is absolutely no chance of Cyberpunk 2077 releasing this year." The thing I found odd when it came to this response is not that his belief that 2077 might come out in 2020, it's the fact that he made it an absolute. Okay, he's an insider with a ton of info, but I wasn't buying the fact that he knew concretely that it was absolutely 2020, and so I voiced my opinion. Now, I'm not hating on Jason at all, but he knows everything he says is going to be put under the microscope because he is so well respected, so he could have for sure used "it's my firm belief" or "it's been strongly hinted to me that 2077 will come out in 2020" instead of using an absolute. I got shredded in some of the comments, but honestly I don't really care, and he did clarify what he meant after the fact with this backpedal tweet where he clarified what he actually meant. He even says they'll announce a 2019 date and then push it back. He does make mention the studio wasn't sure about 2019, but again, this is in no way absolutely not this year, but more like an unlikely 2019. We'll chalk it up to a poor choice of words and move on. Next, we have a new Cyberpunk style jacket given to some of the development team for their work within CD Projekt Red. Delgapa Salazar, a 3D environmental artist for CD Projekt Red, and presumably some others, were gifted with this fresh Cyberpunk jacket with some interesting patches on it. One is for the CD Projekt Red team, and we also have the Night City Heat patch we've seen on the new Male V model. It also looks like there might be a samurai logo on here as well, but we can't really see it. In any case, it's a nice little perk for developers for their hard work in making games. Just piggybacking off of that for a second, Maul Cosplay, who was heavily featured at the E3 booth last year, is also finishing the new design of his Cyberpunk cosplay jacket. This might reflect the new details of the jacket itself, like the new patch and blue LED collar, although from his Snapchat story, it seems like some of the old pins will remain on there. Next up, we have some Cyberpunk Red details from R. Talsorian Games. This information partially came from our Cyberpunk 2077 community podcast and partially came from R. Talsorian themselves. Now on the podcast, Jay Gray, the media ambassador for R. Talsorian Games, who makes the source material of Cyberpunk 2077 in Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk Red, mentioned that the August 1st Gen Con date had been pushed back and that instead they'll be releasing the Cyberpunk Red Jumpstart kit. The kit, which we later found out will retail at $29.99, will feature essential rules, world lore, pre-generated characters, an adventure, scream sheets, dice, and more. Everything needed to play right out of the box for people curious about the game and the world. Jay Gray also promoted a new Cyberpunk Red commissioned art piece, which looks pretty awesome. We also do have something special planned with community podcast members and Jay Gray in the future, so keep an eye out for that. Next, we have a small little detail about the universe when it comes to Jackie's love interests in the demo last year and in the game as a whole. Lalea, community manager of CD Projekt Red, had this to say in a Reddit thread speculating about Jackie and female V being romantically involved, where she mentions Jackie already has a girlfriend. A user asks if it's Misty, Dr. Victor's receptionist, to which we get a cryptic winky face answer. Just a cool little detail, and the relationship is implied when Misty says Jackie's heart chakra is out of whack and calls him babe. If his heart chakra is out of whack though, and he's presumably a member of the Valentinos, a womanizing gang in Cyberpunk, then maybe he's being unfaithful to Misty, but that's pure 100% speculation that you would have heard first if you were following me on Twitter. Next we have CD Projekt Red receiving the Steam Awards that they've won, so head on over to Twitter to congratulate them on some well-deserved hardware. I'm willing to bet this is the first of many if Cyberpunk 2077 and their prospective future games perform well. Finally, we have some countdown to the Dark Future details, which we haven't touched on in quite some time. I'm going to highlight some of the best episodes, which feature the Cyberpunk lore and source material of Artal Saurian's Cyberpunk 2020, which heavily influences CD Projekt Red's 2077. Last week was vehicles, but this week is the Nomad movement, something I've been curious about for some time and have been recently asking Jay Gray some questions about, so it came at a perfect time. In episode 156, we learned that during the collapse, tens of millions of United States citizens were displaced for a variety of reasons, and that some who were displaced became nomads and developed a mobile lifestyle. In 2020, there were an estimated 7 million nomads roaming around North America and made use of themselves in construction contracts, as couriers, and traveling entertainment. In episode 157, we learned that nomads follow a code which read as follows. Thanks for watching, guys, and for more Cyberpunk 2077 and Cyberpunk content, join Neon Nation by subscribing to the Neon Arcade.